In a bid to end taxi violence, the South African National Taxi Council, otherwise known as Santaco, is urging warring KwaZulu-Natal taxi associations to abide by the ceasefire agreement. Now, the meeting, which was led by the Police Ministry, looked at this particular issue in order for an agreement to be signed, and it is to try and bring the parties that are in conflict to try and find a long-lasting solution as they sign this particular agreement. Now, this comes as a number of taxi owners have been gunned down in the province, and Sifiso Shangase is the KwaZulu-Natal Santaco spokesperson and joins us live now. Shugu, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. What about this arrangement is making you as Santaco believe that there could be an end to taxi violence in the province?
Greetings, Bongi, as well as the viewers as well. What is important is that the operators themselves, as well as the elders within the minibus taxi operation within that particular region were forming part of this. And this is convincing because they themselves have been party to the content of the agreement itself. And this is giving us a hope, as well as the police themselves have also been party to this. And when all these parties are actually forming party to ensuring that we are able then to come up with a solution, they also participated in the entire process. And that on its own is giving us hope that eventually everyone is sick and tired of the scourge of violence within the taxi industry in the province of KwaZulu-Natal.
And I mean, this has been an issue, though, that has been going on for quite some time. And it's not only about the province of KwaZulu-Natal. We've seen it in the Western Cape. We've seen it in Gauteng as well, where there even had to be a commission that sits to try and dig deeper into what's going on. So what are some of the things that they talk about when it comes to this particular agreement, because they know they're part of the content, that are making it difficult to put an end to the taxi violence once and for all?
Well, the most important part is the will from all the parties now that are concerned. People have realized that fighting does not yield any positive results. And they've all realized that the only best solution, which is going to be a long-lasting one, to these troubles that have been surrounding the industry, is to merely get a negotiated settlement whereby all the role players have been involved. And this one, we deem it as a milestone, especially within the taxi industry, in a sense that all the parties and the associations that have been affected have also been involved. And there are elderly individuals within the taxi industry who are also behind the whole scene in ensuring that these parties are also made to understand what is entailed in the content of the PEP itself. And the police, their involvement is also one other encouraging aspect within this agreement. And all in all, we have hope that this agreement is going to be a long-lasting one because the monitoring of it as well is going to be done by all the parties concerned as well as the police, so that we ensure that nobody transgresses from the content of the agreement itself.
What happens if someone transgresses?
Because it's a negotiated settlement, that individual is going to be called before the committee, and then that individual will then, his transgression will be dealt with, and in a manner into which he will then be made to understand the content of what he's signed for, because people have been made clearly to understand that what the agreement entails and what the agreement means if you are signing this agreement. And everybody was signing without any duress. All of the members who signed were very much positive with the content, which then means that everyone is going to be abiding by the content. But if he or she transgresses, we're still open to discussions and making him realize that he is now not doing what is within the contract or the agreement that they signed for.
And let's talk about the industry, for a second, because we know how difficult it's been, especially given the fact that, you've seen the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and how some of the drivers were talking about this, the unrest and all of that. Now, the economy also has meant that there are some less passengers, who would be going to work, and with so many taxis and associations, how are you working around this particular issue? Because I'm sure it is of concern.
It is very much of our concern. You tend to find that some of the vehicles currently are being repossessed.
Oh no, I think that line there letting us down as we are speaking to Sifiso Shangase, and I do think he's back. Shamas, I think you're back now.
Yes, I'm indeed back.
Okay, you can continue.
The issue of more vehicles vis-a-vis the individuals that are required to be transported. We shall be having an AGM, and in one of our commissions, it's one other aspect that we'll be looking into, especially when you look at how we are going to be restructuring the business itself, because it requires to be restructured. We can't be having so many vehicles only to find that there are minimal number of passengers that will commute, because it's one other area that has been identified as a source for some of the conflict within the taxi industry. And it is important that we address such. And I'm saying one of the commissions in our AGM that is going to be upcoming in KZN, it will be looking at how we restructure the business in order for us to be able then to cater for these challenges that are facing taxi operators in KZN.
When is
or
this,
in South Africa, for that matter.
When is this AGM?
Well, the AGM is going to be held on the 19th to the 21st of April in Durban.
So are you hopeful that then once this commission probably would be done, you'll be able to put some kind of mechanisms in order to be able, as you say, when you restructure the business, to assist the drivers in this regard and the owners, because they are now finding themselves struggling to possibly pay back, you know, the installments for these cars?
We strongly feel that the commission will come up with resolutions which will probably enable us then to become proposals which will be put forward to our members. And probably if it calls for us then to engage with government, we'll do so as well, putting forward these proposals which would be resolutions from the AGM, and then we'll take it from there then. But the leadership currently is not just sitting back. It's engages with banks. It is also trying its level best to look for other alternative solutions in terms of how to go about addressing these issues. And one other aspect that we are trying to address is the issue of e-hailing, which creates competition with the minibus taxi industry. And that competition that has been created, it's a competition which is unfair in a sense that for minibus taxis, they are route-based, and the e-hailers are merely radius-based, which are not even controlled. And that on its own creates a challenge. And we are then requesting government to speed up the process of ensuring that e-hailing as well is basically controlled and is regulated by government.
All right, and let's see then what comes out of that one. It's a conversation, that one, all on its own, and hopefully we'll be able to, flesh it out here on the show and talk about what this means to, your bottom line, as you say that there's some who are not regulated and others who are. But let's leave it there with you for now. Thank you so much for your time. That's Sifiso Shangase, KwaZulu-Natal Santaco spokesperson.